kind of talked about the moving of our vertical asymptotes right and left by putting a number inside of the parentheses, putting a plus or minus number inside the parentheses. Now what I want to do is kind of talk about transforming my vertical asymptotes by putting a number in front of them. So let's take a look at this thing. And you know what? I'm kind of lazy, so I'm just going to say I'm going to do the Desmos over here. I'm not going to do this little graphy thing. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to compare 1 over x to, I want to be able to see that one. I want to compare that to 2 times 1 over x. So what happened there? Well, it didn't move the place that my vertical asymptote is. My vertical asymptote is still at 0. But what it did is it kind of stretched it vertically. It took the top of this thing and pulled it up. If you compare the blue graph, which is 1 over x times, and then the purple graph, which is 1 over x times 2, it almost looks like the purple graph can be gotten by taking the blue graph and pulling it up a little bit, and over here pulling it down. It vertically stretched it. Alright, let's try 0.5 and see what happens there. So what happened here is the blue graph, if I want to get the purple graph and I start with the blue graph, I almost would have to take this thing, put my hand around it, and push it down. And so it would make this blue graph turn into that purple graph. The same thing over here, I would have to push this thing up. So it's almost like I'm compressing this. Is that all of the questions? All right, here we go. You can obtain the graph of P of x. P of x is a over x from the graph f of x equals 1 over x by vertically stretching or shrinking it. Use this fact to complete the table. Well, if a is bigger than 1, so if it's a number 2 or 3 or 4, it vertically stretches it, whereas if a is smaller than 1, it vertically shrinks it. I don't know if we're going to cover this, but what happens if it's negative 1? So we covered if it's a fraction, and we covered if it's a big number. What if it's a negative number? What's going to happen? Well, let's try it. So what it did is the blue graph is the original one, and then what you did was you kind of reflected it about the x-axis, and it made this purple graph over here. It's almost like I took a ink blot statement, or you know what, think of this as a giant piece of paper and paint a really big line on the blue, or use paint, like heavy paint, and paint this blue line, paint it purple, okay? On your head, paint it purple. Now what I want you to do is take that paper and fold it across this line right here. And then push it together, push those pieces of paper together. What will you get? Well, you'll get something that looks like that. Actually, you'll get something that looks like that. So that's what I'm talking about. It's a reflection across the x-axis. So all I want to talk to you about today? Yep, that's it. All right. Have at it.